Hi there, welcome to today's video on how to manage anger as a mom of little ones. If you're looking for someone who has all the answers, you won't find them with me because I still am a work in progress. But God has taught me some things and I want to share them with you too, so that hopefully you will find some things that can help you if you're also a mom struggling with anger. Maybe you struggle with your little ones. Maybe you don't very much, but impatience. Or maybe you feel like it's crippling your family life. I am not a perfect mom. I'm a work in progress. I get impatient still. I get upset, angry at my children. My name is Melinda. My family and I live in Costa Rica. We have 4 children ages 8 and under. And I'm just sharing from one mom heart to another things that I have learned and that I hope can be a blessing to you and help to you in this journey too. I'd always dreamed of being a mom, and when I became a mom, I quickly found out that I wasn't the mom I wanted to be always. I would get impatient. I would get upset. I just wanted to have a happy family life. But God had to work on me. And He's still working, and He can do the same work for you. So, let me explain first what anger is. The only explanation that I have been able to come to in all my search on working with my anger, working on overcoming anger. Anger is overwhelm. It's simply put that way. It's a response I believe God gave us for protection, for when we're overwhelmed, when there's too much going on or too much happening to us. But if you remember the verse in Ephesians 4:26, you will remember it says, "Be angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath." That tells me 2 things. It tells me anger is not a sin because God says, "Be angry and sin not." It actually tells me 3 things. It says anger can become sin, so don't sin. And it says, "Let not the sun go down on your wrath." That means your anger should have a limit to it. It shouldn't just go on and on. So, the feeling of anger is not sin. Now, I used to think just feeling angry was a sin, and so I tried to stuff it down. I'm not going to feel angry, not going to feel angry. And it made things worse. Because the feeling of anger in itself is not sin. It tells you something. So here's some steps I want you to do. Some things I want you to do when you're struggling with anger that might help you, just like they've helped me to overcome. I also want to mention that if you struggle with anger, it does not make you a bad mom. In itself, struggling with anger does not make you a bad mom. But you have to know how to control it, or you could become a very bad mom. So next time anger comes up, I want you to stop and think the first thing. What is too much for me right now? Ask yourself that question. What is too much for me right now? Or you can change it and ask yourself, where is this coming from? Where is this anger coming from? What is too much, or where is it coming from? Sometimes just realizing that can take away the struggle of the anger. Now, it has happened to me sometimes. Oh, it's because of whatever reason. And then just knowing that helps me to relax and not struggle so much with anger. Now, it isn't always the answer, but that's the place where I always start when I start realizing I'm struggling too much with anger. Where does it come from? Anger can come from several different things. It can come from spiritual struggles. Spiritual struggles are in your heart, maybe. Maybe it's a conviction. God is asking you to do something, you don't want to do it. Maybe it's something you're facing, whatever. Like sometimes I know God has told me to do something and I haven't wanted to do it, and as I'm wrestling with that, it makes me, and then the children come and interrupt for some reason, normal children, and it makes me struggle with anger at them. But it's just because I'm having my own struggle with God. It's not the children's fault at all. And that's the thing about mom anger. There might be a small percentage of chance where we could say it is the children's fault, but it's the smallest, most minimal, because children are children. They are not perfect, and they bring out our imperfections, because sometimes we are upset at them for being slower, but many times, sometimes it requires training. Many times it's just our fault for not being patient in the moment. So anger can come from spiritual struggles and it can come from emotional struggles. Now, emotional struggles tend to be like hurt, when you're feeling hurt, or when you're feeling something else and it's just a bit too much for you, and so you easier get angry if something comes up, if your children do something, because you're struggling emotionally. It can also come from physical struggles. Now, this was one that was really real to me too. The physical struggles, because I've gone through things like postpartum or pregnancy rage, where I just get so angry. Well, I mean, at least I would feel it. And I came to realize that a lot of it was hormonal, and just realizing that took the anger away. I remember one time in a pregnancy stage or something being so angry at someone, and I was wondering, like, it doesn't even make sense that I'm so angry at them. Why is it? And then I realized that it had to do with my hormones, and just that helped me, because just realizing that it had to do with hormones made it much easier to forgive and accept and let go of this anger that I was feeling. So there's those three aspects: spiritual struggles, emotional struggles, or physical struggles. You've probably noticed when you're too tired or too hungry, you get angry much easier. It has to do with physical. Now, that doesn't give you an excuse, but just finding out where it comes from can be a big help in figuring out the answer. Okay, you're struggling with anger because you're hungry. Well, go eat. You're struggling with anger because you haven't slept enough. Get to bed earlier. Whatever it takes to not hurt our children with our anger. So I want to give you some tips for how to deal with anger in the long run. Like, not just in the instant of angry, but if you tend to struggle with anger, to become a less angry mom. The first thing is to deal with past. There's three things I want to talk about: past, your present, and your pain. So I kind of divided them up that way, but they might not all make sense. Your past has to do with, if you're struggling with guilt and regrets from the past, if you're struggling with whatever it is from your past, you may need to find someone to help you work through them, or at the least go to God and help you to work through them. Because when you're remembering things in your past so much, it does make it so much harder to deal with your children. So I'm thinking of something sometimes that happened in the past, and so I am much quicker to get upset at them when they come to me, which should not be like that. Another area where you can have too much is too much present. Now, going on around you right now, that comes in several ways. For me, I'll list the principal ways and you can decide. One is clutter. Too much clutter overwhelms me, and then the children want to get out some toy or something and it makes me struggle with anger. That tells me, when I realize it's from that I need to clean up the house. I need to declutter. I need to get rid of some stuff so that it's not too much for our brain to take on. The other thing is too much on my to-do list. Sometimes we want to do these 20 things and we wish we could, and so we get upset at our children for causing delays, but it's not their fault again. It's we probably put too much on our plate. So I encourage you, if that's your case, to cut out a bunch of stuff. Sometimes we have so many projects going. If you're like me, you like to have projects going and started and all kinds of plans. Sometimes we need to simplify our to-do list and just do the most important for this season of life with littles. It's a very real struggle for me sometimes, because you should see my to-do lists. But when I see that I'm just struggling with overwhelm and things not getting done, I know I need to cut things out of my life, and maybe you do too. The other thing that can be too much sometimes is disobedience, and that is again my fault, because children need to be trained. So if you're struggling with your children not obeying you and that makes you angry, I think it's time to do some training. Cut out whatever and sit down and dedicate some time to training them to obey you right away and cheerfully. It's not going to work just from one day to the next. It's going to take time to do that training. My children, I have found, and I'm sure most children are like that, they prefer a consequence for their actions to over an angry mom. So sometimes they will tell me, "You're getting angry, mommy," and I have to ask for their forgiveness in those cases. But the truth is, they prefer that I say, okay, if you don't obey, we're gonna work on it these days. If you don't obey, you'll have whatever consequence. You'll have to wash more dishes. You'll have to sweep the floor, or any other consequence that you tend to use for your children. And you work on training them. That will it will help so much, because you'll know what to do instead of getting angry. Instead of starting to get upset at them, they're just not listening. It's happened to me many times, and then it comes back to me. I haven't been consistent with training. So if that is your issue, I encourage you to get consistent with training your children, and with loving on them too, because just training in itself isn't good. They need their love, your love from a mom. So I talked about too much from your past, too much in the present, too much going on right now, and too much pain. Now pain kind of goes with the past too. If you're struggling with hurt from the past or present or wherever, that someone has hurt you, I encourage you to seek God's help, to forgive them, to get help from friends or counselors if you need. Because too much pain, God has promised us freedom. He will give us freedom. But too much pain is just, it's hard to be kind to our children when we're struggling with our own issues. You've probably heard that about heal yourself to be able to not hurt your children. And this is one major area. Sometimes it hurts, and so our children come to us for something, and we snap at them and we hurt them, and the cycle continues. Deal with the pain. It's not easy. I don't have the answers. This isn't my specialty. But I found for myself that when I dealt with the pain in the right way, and sometimes I have so much going on, and I'm realizing I'm snapping to my children, and I don't have the time to take out time to just deal with it. I either write it on a paper, put it in the back of my mind, and say, later I'll touch it. And then that evening when they're in bed, or another day when I have a chance, I go through and deal with that pain. Now, it might come up again, but then I do it again. So that is those three things: too much past, too much present, too much pain. Whether it's emotional, spiritual, or physical struggles. If you find out where your anger is coming from, where your overwhelm is coming from, it can help to get over it. But what about those moments when anger just comes on you all of a sudden? You're just, like, this is for dealing with it so in the long term you don't struggle with anger, but sometimes you just get angry and you need help in the moment. I have a few things that have helped me, and I encourage you to do till you've had time to work through your issues and struggles and get over your deeper anger issues. In the moment, ask God for help. You can pray and ask Him for help right away. And get away from your children if you need. If you're fearing you're going to hurt them out of anger, go hide in the bathroom, whatever it is. I mean, unless their lives are in danger, it's safer for you to go away and leave them, whatever, or unless they're in danger of getting badly hurt, than to be there and you hurt them. Till you can calm yourself, get away. Ask for help. Ask someone to help you if you need. Send your children away if you need. I've had to ask my husband to come home from work when I was struggling with postpartum rage, so I know it was a physical thing I had to deal with and heal. But to come home to be with my children because I was afraid I was going to hurt them. Or I've gone over to my mother-in-law's with them because, again, I was afraid I was going to hurt my children if I just stayed alone at home with them. And those things have really helped. Find something to occupy the children. If you need to deal with something, turn on a video for them. I know we shouldn't do that so much, but sometimes if you need to occasionally, it's better for them to be watching a good movie you can turn on for them while you deal with your issues than for you to hurt them. And last of all, when it's over, if you've gotten angry, ask for forgiveness. Ask your children, ask whoever you've hurt for forgiveness, because even if you can't take away all the hurt, you can go a long way in mending and healing the pain that they're going through. So that is my encouragement for you. So the steps again, those are the quick steps, but in general, if you struggle with anger, check where it's coming from. Deal with the past, present, or the pain. Deal with your emotional, spiritual, or physical struggles. Go to God overall. Look to Him for help. Get help from others if you need. Now, again, this isn't my specialty, but if you need professional counseling or professional help, if you can't do it with these steps, do something to get help, because we don't want to hurt our children. We want them to have happy childhoods, and it does them good to see also how we'll deal with anger so that they can know in the future. Because I've had to tell my children, I'm feeling angry now, I have to stop, I have to do whatever, because I shouldn't be angry, and to take a deep breath and start over again. And that will help them in the future know what to do when they're struggling with anger. So I hope this workshop has been an encouragement for you. If you have any questions, you can leave them below. Any comments, any more advice you would have, leave it below, and I'll try to get back to you. And take courage and go on, because we're trying to do the best we can for our children. Homeschooling little ones is overwhelming in itself sometimes, but we want to give them a happy childhood. If you want more motherhood encouragement, I also welcome you to check out the rest of my channel, to subscribe, and I hope to continue sharing with you the things that I am learning, because I am also not a perfect mom. Bye.
So that's how it comes out.
Yeah. So it climbs on, just don't touch its wings.
But how can Daddy get him out?
I have to wait and see.